This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Shh. It's Chelsea Green.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the War Report After Dark. Chelsea Green, your first United States Women's Champion. I'm glad they went that way. We got so much to cover. Saturday night's main event, little SmackDown and Raw. Welcome everybody to another edition.
Hey, a little fun fact, Steve.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder and Chelsea Green are the first couple in history to each have held the U.S. Championship man and women's title.
Oh, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy they went with Chelsea. I am.
Me too.
She deserves it, and she's been doing such a good job. So I'm very happy that she went.
Great too. All the little Chelsea heads.
Yeah. Oh, that was hilarious. Everything she does is gold. So I'm very happy for her. But before we get into all that, I think it's only right that we start the conversation tonight with Saturday night's main event. And I will say this. I was very happy with everything Saturday night's main event had to offer. I loved the retro, like being somebody that grew up with Saturday night's main event, and to see how they brought us back to that time with the referees wearing those shirts with the bow ties and the red, white, and blue ropes and the aisleway to the ring that was so small that everybody's going to touch and they had to have security behind them, and Jesse the Body Ventura. And I thought for somebody who hasn't been back for almost 40 fucking years, did such an amazing job. It was like he didn't skip a beat. He was still the same Jesse the Body, kind of always rooting for the villain. I loved when they actually brought him to the main event for the commentary. There were just so many great moments. Overall, what was everyone's take on Saturday night's main event? Eric, we'll start with you.
I loved it. I thought it was the perfect balance of the old school and nostalgia with today's stuff. I think it was the perfect balance, and love seeing all the legends like Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine, Coco Beware, stuff like that, and the tribute to Mean Gene with the red bow tie. All the old school stuff, and the matches all were on point.
Yeah, I agree. The matches were all great, and we'll go in match by match. Mitch, probably your first ever Saturday night's main event. What did you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't really watch that, back in the day, but I thought it was cool. Like the intro was really cool with that old school feel, and they would cut in so you could see clips from the past, and I was like, okay, so this is what they were talking about, with all the old school stuff. And then, during the show, they kept on with the tradition of kind of showing the old school stuff, which was really cool to see. And the matches, again, they were all pretty good to watch, and I had a lot of fun watching.
It's really true. They did a good job of bringing that nostalgic era back to people that weren't into it then or weren't alive then. It was very cool the way they did it, and the packaging is always something that they've been brilliant about doing. So I agree. Al, what do you think?
Awesome. It was a great tribute. Love the fact they brought back the Win Eagle belt. They've been rumoring that for years. Cody's been
So can I just want to, since you brought it up, I don't care what anyone says. That fucking belt is still the greatest championship
Definitely.
belt of all time.
absolutely.
It's still beautiful. I was so glad that they brought it out.
And Cody looked good with it.
He did. Well, because it just fits,
But
like
anybody
proportionally.
would look good with that, though.
Yeah.
Because even when Kevin Owens grabbed it, he looked fine with it.
Yeah. It was such a great belt. I'm going to have to get one. It's going to have to be a part of the collection. I've been
have
saying
one.
it for years. I got to
Six
get one.
$600 is up
And
to
it has the
$600 after
WWF
Cody brought it
logo
out.
on it.
They're
Oh,
calling
I'm
it-
sure.
They're calling it the Cody Wing Eagle belt.
Yeah, fuck
$600.
that. I'll wait a little bit until the price goes down. At some point, it'll be around 300, and that's when I'll pull the trigger. But it's such a beautiful belt, and I'm glad they gave it to Cody to come out. And again, we'll get into it. They started off with Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre.
Great. Opening.
Great way to open. Those two are always going to put on a good match. Obviously, Drew's mission is to take down everyone associated with the original bloodline, which that in itself is turning into one hell of a storyline because he's kind of picking them off one by one. But that's only going to make the bloodline, OG bloodline, stronger as a unit, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm also wondering if we're possibly going to get a new trio. And maybe they're going to have Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre to go after the OG bloodline. So that's possible. Even though Seth Rollins says, he's still good friends with Sammy and Jay and all that, but you never know. But there's a lot of potential of things that they can do there. But overall, it was a great match. I'm not surprised that Drew got over. He just made his return, so I kind of figured that would happen. What did you guys think? Any takeaways from the Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn?
I think it was
Eric?
just
Sammy's got incredible stamina. That man just took a beating the whole time.
That's
And
one
he
of the
gave
things
back,
he's known
but-
for. That's one of the
And
things
he-
he's known for, that he can just
Yep.
go and go and go and go. I mean, he's amazing that way. Eric, what did you think?
Yeah, and that too. And Drew looked like a beast. I'm really enjoying Drew getting darker and darker and more sinister is really great. And yeah, the style of the match was perfect. I think it was the perfect match to open the show.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It got the crowd. I mean, the crowd is always going to go apeshit over Sami Zayn. So
Yeah.
that right there, you're going to get everyone pumped up and ready, for the rest of the show. So I agree. I thought that was a great way to open the show. Al, what about you? Anything in particular?
I've always been a fan of Drew McIntyre, and the reason for is I've always been a fan of the heel that could win without the whole cheating thing. And for the most part in his career, they've always kept him as a strong heel, which I love that about him. And you're right when you say that they might be teasing like a little group, a little faction amongst those guys, although that Seth Rollins told them no the first time around. Usually, when guys set that up, they ask more than once, and sometimes, they wear the guy down and they might become a team, which will be interesting because now you will actually be seeing somebody outside of the bloodline hunting the bloodline. The bloodline's never really haunted; they're always the hunter. So
That's true.
I thought it would be cool, and I would like that because again, it stretches this bloodline storyline that even if they're not involved, after that, it's still evolved from them, which I think is awesome.
I think Seth will be join that, but after he and Punk are done with each other.
Well, of course.
Oh
I
yeah, of
mean,
course.
that obviously has to finish before anything. And we saw kind of the start of a darker Seth Rollins also, which we'll get into when we talk about Raw. So that's definitely something that I could see starting to happen. Next, we had Io Sky versus Liv Morgan for the women's title. That was another one. I know that was Mitch's favorite match of the night. But overall, I think that was an Io Sky is great. Liv Morgan has gotten so much better in all aspects. And they put on a hell of a match. That one also ended the way I thought it would, with Liv going over. This was another one of those shows that were pretty predictable in terms of what the outcomes were going to be, but the matches were so good that it didn't really matter.
Right.
But again, I thought those two put on a hell of a match. I thought it was a great finish. I can't say enough about those two. I thought they did, and I said it last week, but I am very much enjoying Io's face run.
Yeah,
sure.
I do. I mean, she's one of those for me that she could do it either way. I think she's very good as a face. She's very good as a heel. It's not like a Randy Orton, right? I'd rather have Randy Orton as a face. I mean, as a heel, or Kevin Owens. So I think she's great at what she does. So I'm all for it.
Eric, what about you?
The end was perfect too, and I'm talking about after the match was over. That visual of Liv celebrating with blood dripping down her broken nose.
Well, I don't think she broke her nose, but
Oh,
yes,
it wasn't broken?
it was. They say it was just a bloody nose, but yes, that visual was great. It kind of reminds you of like when Becky Lynch actually did break her nose, and that visual, because that's really what got Becky over as the man, and that started that whole thing for her.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. It was a great visual. It wasn't a lot of blood. It was just enough where you're like, all right.
Yeah, just
And then I
just
like
little
how they
bits.
slowed up the visual. Like they took you back to show you the spot where it happened.
Yeah, that did look brutal too.
Yeah, of course. It looked great. So again, I they did a great job. Anything else anyone want to add on that one?
No.
Did anyone have an inkling of a possibility that Io would walk out with the belt, or were we all basically no? Liv's going to retain.
I assumed Liv was going to retain.
Yeah,
Correct.
Look, all day.
Yeah. There was only one title that I honestly thought was going to change hands, and we'll get there. But
Mitch is very biased, by the way, when it comes to that. He's pro Liv 100% of the day. So
well, Mitch is
Always.
never going to go against Liv ever.
I'm gonna be a
he
chicken
might
tender
only
slut.
one. There's one person. There's one person.
True, but this is Liv Morgan. Mitch was willing to lose his job and go see her at a signing. That wasn't too far. I actually contemplated it
really
myself.
thinking
I'm not
about
gonna lie. Oh, she's so fucking hot.
That
I
he
was so close.
Yeah, I bet you were. He sent me. He sent me the listing of it. He's like, I'm going. Triple
Posted
threat
on
match
Snapchat,
for
I
the
was like,
world
"Damn, I could've
title.
went."
Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Gunther. That was another one. I mean, it was just everything that you expected it to be. It was great. It was hard hitting. And that's another one. I didn't think for 1 minute that Gunther was going to lose. I thought it was a great finish. Even the power bomb on the outside to Damian, where he almost botched it, but then he got him back up and he did it and then ran in and then finished, took it home with Finn. Also notice how Finn took the loss and not Damian. So protecting Damian a little bit, which I guess is cool. But overall, that was another one. It's just a great match. Mitch, we'll start with you on this one. Any big takeaways from that triple threat match?
Yeah, honestly, I thought that it looked like they were setting it up for Damian to kind of eventually take this from Gunther because he's been making Gunther look like a punk, for the last couple weeks. So not surprised Gunther retained it because Gunther is Gunther. But there was that slight chance I was like, Damien's gonna somehow pull this off, and Finn just never had a chance. So
Yeah, well, because with Finn, this is all leading to bigger things like the demise of Judgment Day, which we'll get into when we go more into Raw. But you're exactly right. I mean that there was always that question with Damien. For me, I didn't think it would happen in this match. That I think if it's going to happen is going to be in a one-on-one situation between the two of them. I didn't think in a triple threat way. Al, what do you think?
I was actually surprised that the person that took the pin was Finn, because of what I hear they're trying to set up. But you just said something that does make sense, right? The Judgment Day has to break up first before that happens.
Right.
So yeah, it was a good match. It was definitely a good match. It's just I again, it has to do more for me with Gunther because I don't think his run has been one of the best. So I would just like him to move on a little bit more because I feel this is getting a little stagnant with these two. And if you think about it, he's not even the most important, most relevant part of this story. He's like the third wheel because he's in between a problem with Judgment Day. So I don't know. It's just I need him to move on from here.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too, but I don't think. I mean, he's gonna have another match, I think, with Damien before it's over.
But where do you go from it? You know what I'm saying? Like I get it.
Well,
Let's have a match between them.
I think Gunther wins overall. I don't see him giving. I don't see him losing the title yet. That's why I'm not thinking it's going back to Damien anytime soon. I mean, but you never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I guess.
So one of my favorite parts of the evening, which you might be able to guess from the way we opened the show. Michin versus Chelsea Green for the first ever United Women's Championship. And Chelsea Green takes the title. And to see her face when she called in, not Pierce, what's his name?
Aldous.
Yeah, I was gonna say Magnus. Aldis comes in and she's like demanding that he puts the title around her waist. Just everything about it. I'm very happy for Chelsea. She, talk about somebody that got released, brought back, and has made the most out of any opportunity she's had on TV, and has really owned this Karen gimmick that she's been doing. And I don't think anyone could do it better. So I was very happy with the way that match finished out. Eric, let's start with you this time. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh yeah, fantastic match, and like I would have been fine either way, but I think Chelsea was the way to go for this occasion. And plus, she had kind of like it's not her hometown, but it's her fiance's hometown, home, Long Island, and she also
Notice how she's been using the Rough Rider too.
Yeah, she used the Rough Rider. She had the one leg outfit like he used to back in the day.
Yep.
The celebration with her on Piper's shoulder, like very like Macho Man and Elizabeth.
That's true.
That was, I thought that was amusing, and her outfit with all the little Chelseas on it was hilarious.
It was so funny.
And yeah, and Michin did an amazing job as well. So
yeah, this is not to take anything away from Michin. I would have been happy with her winning too, but I think Chelsea was the choice. I think that was the way to go.
plus,
Al,
they
what do you
did
think?
have a match a couple of months ago or something where Michin won that match. So like,
That's true. It was a dumpster match.
yeah.
Chelsea in the dumpster was great. Al, what do you think?
I thought it was a great match. Obviously, the outcome that I wanted, that's what we got. I just hope she, they put her in a good position. But again, I don't doubt it because everything they give this girl, she knows what to do with it. So I think she'll have a great run as the first U.S. champion. And who knows, man? Hopefully, she can even move on from there one day. But it was overall a great match. Michin did a great job. I think the story doesn't end here. There might be a chance that they'll give Michin a chance to maybe relinquish this loss, but we'll see. But I'm happy for her either way.
Mitch, what do you think?
Nothing new to add. Just thought it was going to go Chelsea's way. Nothing against Meechin at all, but Chelsea's just been again. She's she gets booed all the time, and it's just fun because she's just great at what she's doing, and this character of hers is perfect for her. So
You know what's great too? Because she's a Karen that you're supposed to hate, and the crowd's turning. Like the crowd's rooting for Chelsea. Even in that match, they were chanting for Chelsea more than they were chanting for
Oh,
Michin.
Oh, 100%.
And she's still like, even when she's walking to the ring, she's like, ew, don't touch me, you all smell, and like all this shit, but then the fans are still cheering her. So that just shows you how good she is, because she could insult you and you still love her. So even Aldis was being interviewed. I think it was on Chris Van Vliet. For those of you who know of him, he has a podcast too, and he interviewed Chelsea or Aldis, and he said, "How is it working with Chelsea?" And the first thing that he could say is easy. She's just so easy to work
like a
with
day
because,
off,
yeah, it's just like a day off because she just does whatever and she's great at everything she does, and so yeah, it's just great.
I'm also glad that this was definitely an occasion where you strike with when the iron is hot, and they did.
Yes, yeah. Vince probably would have gone with Michin. That brings us to the main event of Saturday night's main event. Obviously, the Undisputed Championship, Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. That match was fantastic. Cody Rhodes, no matter what you ever want to say about him, his reign, him as a character, he's fucking great in the ring. And him and Kevin Owens was magic. Because Kevin Owens is a home run. Kevin Owens is so entertaining to watch, even as a heel, because he's funny. Like when he does the Orton back body drop to the announce table to the opponent, looks in the camera and goes, "Hi, Randy." Like little things like that. Like he's just great. And it just made for a great match all around. The finish was great. 2 ref bumps. You don't see that very often. And then you get Cody's win, and then they go off the air. And what people didn't see until they went on TikTok, from all the people that tweeted and TikToked it out while that were there live, is that Owens goes back to the ring, hits him from behind, beats the shit out of him, takes the title, and then what's funny is they recap this on Raw. But the part they leave out is Triple H getting in Kevin's face and shoving him a few times.
Yeah.
Which then started speculation, oh shit, could this be Triple H coming out of retirement and doing his one last match? But now I'm thinking there's a reason they purposely left that out during the recap. So maybe that didn't go the way they wanted it to, and they're not really trying to tease that Triple H is coming back in the ring, and that's why they didn't re-air that part of the footage.
I think it would be too risky.
Well, we don't know. Listen, it has been many years now since his heart issue that happened. We don't know if the doctors have ever said that he can be cleared.
That's true.
So, listen, we also didn't think Edge was ever going to return. We also didn't think,
Bryan Danielson.
Right, and look at them now. So, we'll have to see. But
don't forget the package pile driver.
Well, yes, and he did, which was gorgeous,
that
by
he
the way.
Hasn't done since Ring of Honor, like a good 12 years ago.
And it looked so good. And that was great. And then him being stretchered out. We don't know how long he's going to be out for.
If they're smart, they need to keep Cody selling this injury for a bit.
Yes, I agree. But how long is he going to be out? Well, I guess it doesn't matter because Roman never defended the title, so I guess that doesn't really matter.
And there was the controversy about the chair, and so Owens has like a legit, reason to get another match.
Yeah, the chair that Kevin Owens brought into the match.
Yes.
Jesse Ventura was great on commentary through that whole thing. Basically, yelling at Cody
It was
for
the
using the
Jesse of
chair.
old. It was great.
It was great.
was like when he
It's
would
like he never
argue-
missed a beat. He was
It was like when he would
fantastic.
argue with
Vince,
Man or
Yeah.
with Monsoon. It was great.
he really was great. I'm glad that they gave him a deal. I'm glad that he's back. Obviously, he's going to be a part of every Saturday Night's Main Event going forward.
5 fucking boas.
Oh, it was so great. Everything about it. $1 Million Man was supposed to be there, but apparently last minute he backed out. Not sure why, but it's always good to see the $1 Million Man. That would have been nice. Anybody have anything they want to add to the Kevin Owens Cody Rhodes match? We can start this time. We'll go with Al.
No, excellent match. These guys known each other forever, so they work great. I do hear rumors, however, since he did pound drive him, he might be playing the role since he kept the belt afterwards, and might not be the last we see of the Wing Eagle belt. That Kevin Owens will come out for it since Cody Rhodes might be out a couple weeks and flaunt the belt, saying that he is the new champion or the rightful champ or whatever the case may be. So I think it'll be a little interesting to see. Definitely excited to see what goes on with that.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, anytime I could get that belt more, I'm all for it. So
I'd be happy if they replaced the belt officially and just use the Wing Eagle, quite honestly.
I thought of a funny scenario. Had Owens won the title, he would then take credit for bringing that belt back instead of Cody.
That's true.
The kind of dick he is.
That's
that
true.
would be awesome.
And that was the one match that I honestly thought Kevin Owens was going to go
No,
over.
I did too.
So I was surprised that Cody took it out. Ryan, our intern, didn't the ref also count the pinfall from outside of the ring? He did, but his hand was in the ring under the ropes. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but yes, he did count from outside the ring technically. So, but overall,
Charles Robinson too.
well, yeah, Little Nate. But other than that, again, great return of Saturday Night's Main Event. I can't wait to see what else they do. I want to talk a little bit about SmackDown, and we don't have all too much to go over because a lot of it finished out at Saturday Night's Main Event. But there was one big takeaway for me that I want to talk about, and as a fan of pro wrestling for as long as I've been, it takes a lot for me to get goosebumps when it comes to promos or certain situations. But when it does happen, it's just so great, and that's what makes it so exciting to be a wrestling fan. Well, SmackDown brought me one of those moments. And I've been very vocal on this show that I am not the biggest fan of cinematic promos. Although sometimes I am, but for the most part, like, I didn't love the Roman Cody thing at the football field. Like, everyone was so, to me, it was whatever. But the promo that Roman cut with Paul Heyman in the background,
Yeah.
and he starts talking about Netflix. And then he talks about all Netflix is to him, that first Raw, is that it's going to be the tribal match, where it's going to be Tribal Chief versus Tribal Chief. I'm assuming for the Ulafala. But that promo, yeah, but that promo was so great. I mean, at that moment at the end where Heyman puts his hands together and leans in and he goes, "You'll have no choice but to acknowledge me." And he looks into the crowd. That promo was everything and got me so excited for Netflix because, again, as we've said, Netflix is turning out this first episode on Netflix is going to be like a pay-per-view. I mean, the matches that we're already getting, we're getting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. We're getting Solo versus Roman. And now we're getting Liv versus Rhea, which we'll get more into that. So right off the bat, you have those three. I would be shocked if The Rock isn't there. I would be shocked if The Undertaker is not there. I'd be shocked if Hulk Hogan's not there. I'm telling you, they are going to bring out all the stops. And when you have a tribal combat match, Lord knows what the fuck is going to happen because we know what happened with the first one. So I'm so excited. I mean, this is going to be huge. I just hope we don't have the same streaming issue like we did with the Tyson fight. But as I am talking a little bit about Netflix before we go back into the weekly programming, I guess it is now time that I go to the comments from our good friend over at David Rosca. And there's a few. First, Merry Christmas. Merry Trishmas, guys. Trish Stratus is coming back next year, January 6th on Netflix. I wouldn't be surprised, my man. It is this big show. I could see Trish being there. Trish Stratus should have won a lot more women's championships in 2002. Okay. And he's having a Christmas party. I hope you have a blast. So, this is going to be huge. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see what they're going to do for this first episode on Netflix. The new logo we've already seen, so they're changing the Raw logo. This is going to be one big deal. Mitch, what do you think?
Yeah, just I saw that I guess on Wednesday they're having some sort of kickoff party, and there's a star-studded cast of wrestlers that are going to be at that opening in I think they're doing it in Stamford. So, but
yeah, they're doing it at the new headquarters.
So they're bringing everybody. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be great. That one's going to be from the headquarters. They've been doing that a lot before these big shows now, which I like. Pretty cool. Al, what do you think?
I'm excited, man. It's going to be awesome. And anytime Raw makes something like this, it's almost every X amount of years, right? We went from starting in the mall to being in a place that holds 15,000 people from the first time to changing to the Attitude Era sign to when Vince McMahon came on TV and told us that we were going to be going a little bit more extreme. So every certain amount of time something big happens, and it's going to be a great thing for wrestling. Especially lately, SmackDown has been the main show, so I feel like Raw is, internally in a fun way trying to get that static quo back of the show of the week, because Raw was always the show of the week, and I think they want that back.
Well, I think it's going to be because you're going to have a roster shakeup, right? They said that they're going to move some people around. So we'll see. But I know there are certain superstars that they have requested be on. So it'll be interesting to see how they comply with all that. Tara, will they get in trouble for bringing out the Winged Eagle belt because it says WWF? Listen, WWE. It says it does say WWE, and if it did say WWF, their legal team would have made sure that they're not going to do anything that's going to get them sued. So I don't think they have to worry about the World Wildlife Federation at this point. Yeah, so it'll be it's going to be great. We've been seeing weekly these little promos of that circle in red with the slash through it. You guys know what I'm talking about? So the heavy rumor is that is the sign that Penta is debuting on the first episode of Raw on Netflix.
Didn't that thing also said, like, no fear or something? That's his Cero
Miedo.
That's
correct.
No fear.
That's why everyone's speculating that is going to be him, and they're basically announcing that he will be on that first Raw of Netflix. So that's going to be great to see too.
That'll be cool.
I'm pretty excited for that. So those were really the biggest things I think to really talk about when it comes to SmackDown, because then we went right to Saturday night's main event. Raw last night. Raw had some interesting moments, right? So it started off with CM Punk cutting a promo, basically saying and doing anything he can to get Rollins to come out. Rollins comes out from the crowd. They throw insults at each other, and then the next thing you know, there's a melee. And it was great. I love when they do the melees. I love how that opens the show. It got me excited to see these two finally get their match. Yeah, I did. And I like the story they're telling and the reason why there's such hatred there. It makes sense. I'm enjoying it. Eric, let's start with you on this one. What are your thoughts with this whole thing?
Oh yeah, great jabs at each other. A nice brawl. It's definitely been building for a long time. This match, for over a year, and it's about to go down. And I think it's going to be only one of a few matches, probably.
Yes, I agree. I don't think this will be a one and done for sure. Al, what do you think?
Well, so for some reason I'm assuming this will have to end before WrestleMania comes around, right? Because the favor to Paul Heyman is I won the main event of WrestleMania. So it will end before that. But I could definitely see this going on all the way up to maybe the Royal Rumble. Give them a few cracks at it. This is something brewing for north of 2 years. It's no secret that he was Rollins was a huge CM Punk guy growing up. So there's layers to it, right? So I wish this one is they should give it a run. That's all I hope out of it. I hope they give it a run. The way it was set up Monday night, it was great. CM Punk doing what he does best, comes to the mic till Rollins couldn't take it anymore, and he came out and they started wailing at each other, which is what you would think will happen.
And notice Rollins did not come out all flashy. Came out all in black.
Oh yeah.
There was a little darker tone to Seth Rollins this week.
Well, he came ready to fight.
Yeah. Yeah. But did away with all the flash and all the bullshit and was like, all right, let's fucking do this. So yeah, I love the way it's building. Eric, you got anything on this one?
Oh, just also the immense hatred. Yeah, it's there and it's palpable, and man, it's just. And let me bring this up. I was listening to Busted Open, right, and they're talking about this particular feud, and Dave LaGreca was saying that the stuff that Seth was saying resonates with him, and he's not understanding why the crowd is. While yes, they're cheering for Rollins, they're still pro Punk. So. But for him, what Seth is saying resonates. Now, the way I look at it is that Rollins comes off as bitter and jealous and crazy because he's, yelling shit. Whereas Punk is calm and cool. Maybe he's disrespectful a little bit by blowing him off, but still, so Rollins does come across as the heel to me, and obviously the darker tones and everything, it's coming, and it just makes it for a great feud.
I don't think you're gonna have a heel face in this one. I think the crowd's gonna be cheering for both. I think unless somebody does something despicable, you know what I mean? I think it's gonna be one of those let's go Rollins, CM Punk kind of deal.
They definitely will be cheering for both of them.
Right. I don't think there will be a heel face situation in this one because I think the fans like them both.
Definitely a face kind of thing.
Yeah, and plus, it's going to be more of a slower build for Rollins to go full heel again.
That's true too. Tara, they said what the favorite was. No, they did not say what the favorite was. But if you think about CM Punk, and the one thing he's always wanted is that main event spot in WrestleMania. So one can only imagine he's going to be looking for Paul Heyman to somehow figure out how to get him into the main event of WrestleMania. So it is speculation at this time, but what else could it be? I mean, that's the only favor that makes sense, because that's all that he really cared about, ever. It's one of the main factors why he left the first time around, because they wouldn't respect him enough to give him that main event spot at WrestleMania. In his eyes, you know. Even though they gave him matches with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which might as well be considered a main event, if you ask me. Anytime you get to fight the dead man at WrestleMania and put the streak on the line. We were. But, you know, when you put that streak on the line, that's as big as any main event. So, next up, we had the IC Championship match, Bron Breakker, Ludwig Kaiser. Let me tell you something. I could watch the two of them every single week. Ludwig Kaiser is impressive more and more each week, on the mic, in the ring, and Bron Breakker is just a beast. There was that one spot where Bron Breakker was on the outside leaning up against the steps, so Ludwig figured out this was my opportunity to go all the way around. But as he was running around, Bron Breakker was running around, and then he caught him. I mean, there were so fantastic, and it ended the way it should. Another match where there was no doubt in my mind that Bron Breakker was going to go over, but what a hell of a match and a great finish.
Absolutely.
Al, go ahead. What do you think?
No, I thought it was great. Same thing, like you said. Ludwig has been growing on me a week by week basis. He just has been impressing me. He has great size, great build. Could work a match. Could take great bumps. Barely makes mistakes. He's very good in the ring. He's impressive, and he's even greater on the mic. And I like the fact that they're giving him a singles run now.
Yeah.
I think the best thing they did for his career is getting rid of Vinci when it came to their group, to their stable, because I felt that guy was holding them back. So I'm excited. I hope, once again, they give him a little run. Hopefully he gets a shot at a mid-card title and see where it goes from there.
Mitch?
I was gonna say, I love Ludwig, man. I miss him, and when I first started watching, he would announce Gunther. I do miss that because no one announces Gunther like Ludwig, but he's coming to his own a lot. My favorite part was the one you were talking about with outside the ring, and then Braun just comes out of nowhere and just cracks him, and then ends it with the one-arm spear. It was awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
They're electric.
Ladies and gentlemen, I demand all your gratitude for the longest reigning Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion in history.
It's so great. Eventually they'll come back together and he'll do it again and the crowd will go apeshit. But that's just it. He's great at everything. Even his facial expressions, the way he walks down to the ring with that snobbish, whatever you want to call it. Like, there's just everything about him. He's a home run. And he's with Tiffany Stratton, so he's got good taste. It's always
Great.
Tiffy time in his house, you know?
Or
Great taste.
I think it would be Stiffy time.
That was well played. They're continuing the distaste of the New Day, where locker room leader Rey Mysterio basically told him that they are not wanted in the locker room and they had to find somewhere else to go change. So They're really playing this up with the New Day. So I like the way this is headed. Liv promo with Dirty Dom. Rhea coming out saying that she talked to Pierce. She's number one contender, so she's getting her rematch for the title. I believe she called Dominic a chicken nugget slut. Or chicken nugget slut or something, which was fucking great. Chicken tendy slut. That's what it was. Chicken tendy slut. I'm telling you, that better be a t-shirt next week.
I'll buy great. That was great.
Wasn't that great? It was so good. And Dominic's face, too, was just fucking everything. Oh, man.
And Liv with the megaphone, too. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was funny. Liv is just doing a great job. I mean, she really is. Rhea, but I got to tell you, I think the next time we get Rhea versus Liv, I think Rhea's getting her title back.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
You know, I got to tell you, I love Liv. I think she's doing a great job. But Mommy's always on top. And I think it's time Rhea gets her belt
she's
back.
Lean. She's even leaner than before.
She's looking good. Yeah, she's looking good. You could see it more in her face, too. Especially this past Monday. I noticed that, too. Like, under in here, like, it's getting very... Oh, she's fucking... She's beautiful. And then we had the main event, which makes me so happy. Not the Viking Raiders, the fucking War Raiders versus Finn Balor and J.D. Shrek McGunna, whatever the fuck his name is.
Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad. Warbeard. The War Raiders are your new...
Too, in Boston.
In Boston, the new tag team champions, dethroning Judgment Day, which is only going to further the breakup of Judgment Day. But I am so happy for those two. I've been a fan of theirs for the longest time. I know Red Warbeard. I know him as Warbeard. I worked so many shows with Warbeard. I got to know him. I got to talk to him backstage. He's a fucking great dude. I never got to meet Roe in person. It was only ever Warbeard because he did a lot for Northeast Wrestling, and he was their world champion for a long time. This is obviously right before he got called up to WWE. But he's a great dude, and I'm so happy for them. And they've been through a lot. You know, when it comes to neck injuries and back injuries and surgeries and this and that. And, you know, they're just monsters. So I couldn't be happier for them. And I hope it's another solid run because there's no tag team that deserves it more, in my opinion, than those two. Al, what do you think about the War Raiders winning the tag titles?
I love it, man. I don't think it gets better as big guys. You know, they're great, agile big guys that know how to work with one another, and it's crazy how a name change does so much for us. Because I hated them as the Viking Raiders, but I love them as the War Raiders. You know, it's great. I'm glad they took the belts off these guys because they weren't doing anything with them. So hopefully we could get some competition now for the belts. But it was good. I was happy. I was very happy with them.
Mitch?
Well, I didn't know the history, Steve, so thank you for the lesson. But
Yeah.
it was cool to see, you know, Judgment Day get taken down just because it's going to further the implosion in that locker room because Finn, you know, thinks he's the leader, even though they have no leaders. And, you know, everyone's kind of calling him out very nonchalantly. And, you know, he's getting pissed, and this is only going to further it. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, it's coming. And just for your own knowledge, if you ever want to get more backstory on the two of them, find their stuff at Ring of Honor. That's really where they got big as a tag team in Ring of Honor. And they were the War Raiders in Ring of Honor. And
they were War Machine, actually.
Right, the War Machine. And then, well, Ivar was known as the War Machine. But they were still the War Raiders. Weren't they in Ring of Honor? I'm pretty sure they were called the War Raiders. I have to fact check that, but they had some amazing matches. I mean, you want to see some great shit? Look up those two versus the Briscoes. I mean, there's so many, but they're just great. Everything about them, and Vince was behind the whole Viking thing and turning them Viking. But this is what they should have been. The whole crowd used to chant war, and like the roof would fly off with the chants. I mean, it was great. So I love what they're doing with these two. And they're just two other guys that are big and they're agile. I mean, fucking Ivar does cartwheels and fucking spinning leg kicks and frog splashes and moonsaults and dives, and you know, the guy's damn near 400 fucking pounds. You know what I mean? So they're just unbelievable. So this is going to be a great solid run. Eric, you got anything on them?
Oh, I was going to say, Mitch, it was Al, it was almost even worse than Viking Raiders. They were almost the Viking Experience.
Oh, I remember hearing that. That would have been horrible.
That would have been a career ender right there
And
from the
thank
beginning.
God that didn't come to fruition, because that's just fucking stupid.
Yeah, that would have been a shame.
But and also, yes, I agree with Mitch too that it was about goddamn time that Judgment Day lost those belts, because they haven't done shit with them anyway.
No, nothing at all.
They only defended the titles, I think they said 3 times. And they had the belts
for a while.
I mean, since Mania, right? Isn't that when they won the titles? Or did they go into Mania as champions? I don't remember.
I don't recall.
I don't remember. But even still, I mean, it's been a long time.
Did they lose at one point and then win it back?
They might have. I don't even fucking remember. To be honest with you. It's possible. And this will make Eric very happy. I just want to inform everybody that Charlotte Flair has been seen back in Performance Center getting reps in. So it's a matter of time before our queen returns.
I'm telling you, man, she's the one that freaking got this girl injured. You don't want to listen to me.
I mean, you got to be fair to Flair. It's possible.
Fair to Flair. I love it.
Got to be fair to Flair.
But the way that's going, I feel like Naomi is like could be the one.
I don't know. To be honest, I think the bigger shock that we've talked about is Bianca. In fact, I think, Al, that was your idea. I think that would be the biggest shock of them all, to have a Bianca heel turn and set up Bianca Jade for Mania.
I think that's the way it should go.
And and then regarding Charlotte,
Charlotte's got to face Tiffy.
Yeah, her versus Jade would be a good one, and there's still some great dream matches to do with Charlotte.
It's Tiffy time!
I'd love to see her and Chelsea Green.
Put them all. Do like a fatal 4-way or something.
You know there will be a fatal 4-way to give females more slots at Mania. We always got a triple threat or a fatal 4-way.
That's true. Or a battle royal.
Mm-hmm.
But like all of those matches sound appealing.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options, and you got to figure Asuka's probably going to be back soon. Right. Everything I'm hearing is Little Miss Bliss is coming back for the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Becky. Yeah, well, apparently she just finished filming something, possibly a new Star Trek series or something. I may have heard. But she's getting ready. You're probably going to have them all returning at the Rumble. That would be my guess. What better time to have surprise returns than the Royal Rumble?
What a shit show that would be.
Right?
Could you imagine creative trying to figure out what they're going to do with all these wrestlers all come back at Rumble?
Well, Triple H has his work cut out for him.
Oh, yeah.
But, the way things have been going and the writing and the production so far, I have all the faith in the world in that man. Because he has been able to turn this ship around that Vince was sinking. And I couldn't be happier with the product. So keep doing whatever the fuck you're doing, Trips, because you're doing a hell of a job. And who knows? Maybe we will get surprised and he will come out for one more match. I mean, that's one thing he never got. It would be great to see him throw the boots on one more time. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a quick show. We've had a lot to cover, but we have reached the top of the hour. Anything anybody got that they want to discuss before we take it home for the evening? Anything we didn't cover?
A non-WWE thing. Tessa Blanchard
Yes.
is back in TNA.
You know what that means. Possibility she's showing up at NXT.
Yeah, with the
Because
you know,
they
with
do
the talent
the
exchange.
crossovers and shit,
Or
right?
at the Rumble.
Could you imagine if Tessa Blanchard showed up at the Rumble? That would be amazing. I am a very big fan of Tessa. She is awesome. And I'm glad to see her back in TNA.
Look,
Hopefully.
everyone deserves a second chance, you know?
Absolutely. Listen, her mouth, no matter what she said or did in the past, she's one of the best in the ring.
Oh, absolutely.
At the end of the day, it comes down to wrestling. If she can just keep her mouth shut
Yeah.
and do what she's told,
Because, look,
it's going to be great.
you put her and Charlotte Flair in a match. It's going to be one of the greatest
Oh, my
matches
God.
of all time.
Can you imagine? And talk about the story you could tell.
Yeah, their dads together.
Exactly. Right. So it could be very interesting. But we'll see where it goes. But there's a lot of big things. Oh, and Tony Storm is back as Tony Storm. Not happy about it. I got to be honest.
But it's also kind of amusing and interesting because it's like she has amnesia and thinks that she's brand new to AEW.
Well, right, which is
hilarious.
fun. It is funny, but I do miss, like, I miss the black and white Tony Storm.
Wow,
So,
and the timing is amazing too because like when Autumn and I went to WrestleCade and met her, she was still in the timeless
timeless.
thing, and then oh man, it's just
No more looking out for the shoe.
yeah. But by the way, I should mention that some of her 8x10s that she was selling there, some had her with like superimposed with like her and Marilyn Monroe together, or her and some old stars, and it was hilarious.
That's very funny. She's great. She's great. Anything she does is great. But, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the top of the hour. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Tara, thank you for joining the live feed along with Ryan, as usual. And, of course, our good friend David Roscoe over at YouTube. You can catch us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. as we break down the week in pro wrestling. And you can always check us out on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and then anywhere that you can watch a podcast or listen to one. So check us out, The War Report. Tell your friends. Join us each and every week. I want to thank you all again for joining us, and we will see you right here next week, 9 p.m. live for another edition of The War Report After Dark.